Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So you clicked on this video because you suffer from overthinking, negative thoughts, depression or anxiety, or maybe all of them. I think we've all suffered from that one time or another. So the cure, that's what you're all here for, right? Well, the cure is enlightenment. And you're probably thinking like, what? What is enlightenment? Before I read this book, I've heard this concept. I never really knew what it was. And I just thought it was something that I could not attain. And that it was something other than what I know it is to be now. Enlightenment is the feeling of oneness with being. It is the end of suffering. That is what enlightenment is. Now, the way you achieve enlightenment is by being present, being in the now. So when you do experience enlightenment, you have gaps of no mind. We would say no mind, right? You're just basking in your own presence and there's no mind right there. Your thoughts are more focused, more productive when you are in that state. But there's something that stops us, and that is our ego, our mind, the phantom self. We need to first realize that there are two of us. And you're probably like, what? There are two of us? There's two of me? Yeah, there's two of you. Picture two circles, right? There is being, and then there's your mind. We like to call the mind the ego or the phantom self. Each of us has both unconscious and conscious parts of ourselves. The being is the conscious part, and the unconsciousness is being identified with your mind. The ego is the mind identified self. The ego, which is the mind, like I just said, it lives and it thrives off pain. Pain from the past, pain that could be caused from thinking about the future. Now, the forms of pain look like anger, irritation, depression, annoyance, etc. Those are all forms of pain, and the ego thrives off of it. So I'll always be attached to the past or the future. Our sense of self is derived from the ego. This is the part that we think that we are, the mind, and all these thoughts that come up. We think that is us, but it's not. The real us is just being. It's just presence. And in that presence, there is stillness, and there is joy, and there is love, and there is peace. That's enlightenment. That's feeling presence, feeling oneness with being. So as long as you're identified with it, you're going to keep having those negative thoughts. You're going to keep having those depressive thoughts. You're going to keep overthinking, overanalyzing, and just making yourself suffer for no reason. But you don't know this because you are unconscious of it, because you're still identified with your mind. Remember, I talked about unconscious and conscious parts of ourselves. The ego and the mind only exist in time. This is a point of presence, is realizing that time is an illusion. The only time is the present moment, is now. When we are depressed is because we've grown used to identifying with the mind, and the content of that mind is just garbage, right? You already have all these thoughts there, and some of them are linked to the past, and in the past there is pain, and we're taking that and projecting it into the present. Except we're not even really present, right? Because we're still in our mind. We're not giving now the fullest attention that it needs. So as long as you're identified with the mind, you're going to be suffering. You're going to be depressed. And if you're anxious, it's because you're worried about the future. If you're always thinking about what if this, what if that, you're going to be anxious. That's what anxiety is thinking about the future when you should be thinking about right now, when you should be present. So how do you stop that? Again, realizing you are not your mind, shifting into your body, being present. And like with goals, when we have goals, sometimes having goals cripples us because we're in lack, that we'd rather be in the future, except the future doesn't exist. The present moment is what exists right now, and when the future plays out, it's going to be in the present moment, right? 5 minutes from now isn't going to be played out 5 minutes from now. It's going to be played out in the present moment, right now. And how do you change the future? You start right now. Accept your life for what it is, like you chose it. Accept it. And from here, move on. Take the next step. Whatever step that you think you need to take to get to where you want to be, do it right now. Because that is the only time. If the earth was absent of humans and there was only insects, plants, birds, all these other animals, if it was void of human. There was 2 birds flying in the air, right? And one of the birds says, if it could say, what time is it? And the other one would be like, what? The only time is now. Like, what are you talking about? The only time is now, right? Because they don't need to go to work. When we go to work, we're focused on time, right? Oh, at this time we had to do this, at that time I had to do this. Or where do you want to be 5 years from now? And we're always projected in some time, right? But time is an illusion. The only time is right now, is the present moment. And when you know that, you will be at peace. You will be in stillness and you will experience joy. And let's talk about having problems, because that is what our thoughts are about too. Our thoughts are about problems, except problems are another illusion. Problems are going to be in time as well. Remember I said time is an illusion. So our life isn't filled with problems. Our life is filled with life situations. And in those situations, we want to say that they're problems. They're just life situations. And when we're too busy complaining about those problems, we're going to become a victim. And these thoughts will come and seep in again. And it'll be a cycle. You're going to keep having these negative thoughts. It's going to keep you in that suffering cycle, in pain. Right now, you have solutions. If you stop being identified with your mind and thinking about the problems, what do you have? You have the present moment and you have solutions. Now another concept to talk about is emotions. The word emotion comes from the Latin word emovere, if I'm saying that correctly, which means to disturb. So emotions literally means disturbance. What? Emotions means disturbance? It does. Right? All of these negative things that we feel, all of these negative emotions, everything at the bottom of the map of consciousness. Emotion is the body's reaction to the mind. Let me say that again. Emotions is the body's reaction to the mind. Emotion, where the mind and the body meet. It's a reflection of your mind in the body. That's crazy, right? When someone is crying, their emotion is sadness. Evidently, they're in some form of pain. It has to do with the content and the activity in their mind. You became those emotions. And that is when you can see it, right? It's a reflection in the body. Emotions are disturbances. They're disturbing me. And you're like, what about love and joy and peace? All the higher things on the map of consciousness. What about those? Are those emotions? Well, my friend, I'm going to blow your mind once more again. Love, joy, peace, enlightenment. They are not emotions. They are states of being. Let me say that again. Love, joy, peace are states of being. It's a feeling. It's an experience. Okay? They're not emotions because they're not disturbances. So remember, every time you have an emotion, to witness it, to realize it. To realize like, oh wow, I'm feeling like this, or I feel this. But do not become the emotion. And if you do, that's okay too, right? We came here to experience lots of things. Emotions, experiences. We came here to do that. So it's not saying, I'm not saying having emotions is bad. It's just when we're suffering, we can say that they're more negative or more bad, right? We want to suffer less. Psychologically, we want to suffer less, right? What's the point in psychologically suffering? Why are we doing that to ourselves? There's two of us, right? There's being and there's the ego, the mind. Let's say we have a vehicle, and for a while, if you've been unconscious, which is most of us, your mind has been the driver and you've been in the passenger, but you never even knew you were the passenger because you were unconscious. But now that I told you that there's two of you, that you are not your mind, you need to get in the driver's seat. You need to be conscious of what you're driving, right? The mind. Two of you, you are not your mind, but you think that you are because of the ego, right? The mind. It's this self that we've developed through the years from pain, right? And there's different forms of pain. I have to do it because they're in the past. Being present is a realization, the feeling, self-realization. I am, right? In the sentence, I am blank. Well, the I am is what we're trying to attain. We're trying to experience the present moment. Just, I am. Feeling that. Shift the attention to your body. Look at things around you and feel their presence in that space. Feel its presence. Like right now, what I'm looking at is my camera. Feel its presence. There's a smell in my room. That's because I have an oil diffuser and it's not on, but I can still smell it. Feel that. What do you hear? Right now I hear my PC try to cool itself. Feel your breath. That is presence. And in that presence, there's stillness. There's joy. There's love there. There's peace. Why? Because I know I am not my mind. I'm controlling my mind. It's not controlling me. It's not using me. I'm using it. And when you're able to just be, to be present, you can experience no mind, no thoughts. Yes, it's possible. And I have had super deep moments of enlightenment, super deep. And it's like the best feeling ever. And my goal is not to be enlightened forever. It's just to realize when I want to suffer less and choose ease and not to choose to suffer. But sometimes I become unconscious and certain things from the past bubble up. But you have to practice being in the now, being present. Do you use your mind or does your mind use you is the question. So let's dive a little deeper into depression. I've been depressed. I've had anxiety. And I haven't had it for a bit because of the fact that I tried to practice being more present and remind myself that I am not my mind and to stop identifying with it, to choose ease over unease, to choose joy instead of pain. So when I've had depressive thoughts, it's because depressive thoughts about what people say to me, what I think about myself. See, think is a key word because the mind is not you. It's not real. You're real. Your being is real. But you thinking that your thoughts are you is a problem, and that's when you're going to suffer. Overthinking. It's because we're in our head. We're still identified with the mind. Negative thoughts, right? We're still identified with the mind. Depressive thoughts, anxious thoughts, because we're still identified with the mind, the ego. But it's not you. You are not your mind. Like, who are you without your name, without the content of your thoughts? You're just presence. You're just energy. So remember to be the watcher of your thoughts, because that is you being conscious. And if you already let your emotions run through or those thoughts, that's okay too. Just come back and watch them and choose ease instead of suffering. Now, Eckhart Tolle, from the author of the book, he said that you can measure the degree of success of enlightenment by how much peace you feel, by how much stillness you feel. You can sit down, in a quiet room and ask yourself, say out loud, I wonder what my next thought will be. I hope that you have gained a lot of insight from this video. I hope it brought you more ease into your life. And I also urge you to go ahead and grab your own book, your own copy of The Power of Now. I guarantee you, you will not regret it. I also wanted to do a little shameless plug for my shop. I sell crystal and intention-based jewelry. I have apparel as well. These gorgeous things are the El Sol amulet. Its intention is to bring you creativity, productivity, and passion into your life. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel, as I have a lot of more nuggets of wisdom to share. Like this, click on the bell button to be notified when I upload a new video. Remember that you are loved